Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to dive into the top 3 world of coin collecting and explore some of the most valuable and sought-after coins in the market. We'll be focusing on the 5-cent Jefferson Nickels, along with some fascinating 1-cent and silver coins that have taken center stage in the collecting world. The first up, in the vast world of numismatics, certain coins shine brighter than others, not because of their metal composition alone, but because of the stories they carry. One such treasure is the 1936 Buffalo nickel, also known as a 5-cent piece of the United States. To the untrained eye, a dirty, worn 1936 nickel might appear worthless, just an old coin best left in a drawer. But in reality, this small relic has the power to rewrite fortunes, especially when it carries the right rarity, condition, or striking error. For collectors and dreamers alike, it has earned a mythical reputation as a coin that could elevate an ordinary life into unimaginable wealth overnight. The Buffalo Nickel series, minted from 1913 to 1938, is one of America's most iconic coin designs. Sculpted by James Earl Fraser, the obverse proudly displays the rugged profile of a Native American chief, while the reverse depicts a strong American bison. By 1936, the coin had already become a symbol of American grit, resilience, and heritage. What makes the 1936 issue so extraordinary is not just its artistry, but the circumstances around its mintage, especially the limited runs, the rare double die errors, and the version struck in proof format. A coin from 1936 might look ordinary if you hold it today with dirt staining its surface, but don't be deceived. Collectors know that the value of such a nickel can reach into staggering numbers. Even in a worn state, some variations have crossed auction blocks for sums that most people couldn't dream of. The truly rare specimens, minted in extremely limited quantities, have become legends in their own right, fetching hundreds of thousands and sometimes even millions of dollars when the bidding wars break loose among elite collectors. What makes this coin's value almost magical is the fact that it bridges both history and rarity. 1936 was a time when the United States was still clawing its way out of the Great Depression, and every coin in circulation had immense everyday importance. Families relied on nickels to buy bread, milk, or a few minutes of joy at the cinema. That such an everyday object, forged in that difficult era, can now command unimaginable riches is what gives this coin a sense of destiny. Owning one feels like holding a ticket back into history itself. Among the treasures of 1936, the proof strikes stand at the very top. The Philadelphia Mint experimented with polished dies, creating a small number of Buffalo nickels in mirror-like quality. These coins were never meant for general circulation, but rather for collectors and presentation. Because so few exist, their appearance on the market is a dramatic event. If one surfaces, collectors will not hesitate to push the price into jaw-dropping territory, sometimes rivaling the value of luxurious estates or rare artworks. Then comes the element of error coins, which ignite collector frenzy like nothing else. In 1936, striking errors such as double die obverse gave rise to coins where the date or lettering appears doubled. To the average person, this may look like a simple imperfection, but to a numismatist, it is like finding a hidden treasure map. Such nickels are so rare that when authenticated, they are treated like artifacts of national importance. Dirty or not, worn or not, the value soars beyond imagination because rarity in numismatics always trumps condition. The mystery deepens when we talk about the dirty condition nickels that many people overlook. Dirt, after all, is no enemy of value in the coin world. A coin that has survived nearly a century, bearing its age marks, scratches, and patina, often tells a more powerful story than a polished piece. For collectors, these flaws serve as proof of authenticity, evidence that the coin lived through decades of circulation. So, when someone finds a dirty 1936 nickel tucked away in an attic box or passed down through family, they might unknowingly be holding $1 million treasure. Auction houses have repeatedly shown us the magic of this coin. Stories circulate of humble finds turning into life-changing events. Imagine someone discovering a 1936 double die nickel in the bottom of an old jar and later watching it sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Such stories aren't myths. They are real-life tales of fortunes created by a small piece of metal no larger than the tip of your thumb. This is why the 1936 nickel has such an aura of destiny surrounding it. But beyond wealth, the 1936 Buffalo nickel stands as a cultural symbol. It immortalizes a heritage of Native Americans and the strength of the American bison, two icons of resilience and survival. To collectors, this coin doesn't just represent monetary gain. It represents pride, heritage, and history compressed into a piece of nickel alloy. Its design remains one of the most beloved in American coinage, and that artistry contributes significantly to its enduring allure. Another fascinating aspect is the psychology of collectors who pursue it. To them, it is not enough to simply own a coin. It is about capturing a piece of history that others thought lost. When they look at a 1936 nickel, they don't just see numbers or dollar signs. They see an artifact that connects them to 1930s America, a turbulent decade of dust storms, economic struggle, and resilience. That emotional connection is what makes them bid outrageous sums without hesitation. For the person who stumbles upon such a coin today, the moment is often surreal. At first glance, it may look like pocket change. But once authenticated, it transforms into a golden key that can open doors to a new life. Many who have discovered these rare nickels describe the experience as nothing short of life-altering. What was once thought of as spare change suddenly becomes a passport to wealth, security, and dreams fulfilled. Of course, not every 1936 nickel carries astronomical value. Millions were minted for circulation, and most remain common, worth only face value or slightly more. But hidden among those millions are the special ones, the proofs, the errors, the extremely well-preserved coins that ignite bidding wars. It is this lottery-like chance, the idea that anyone could stumble upon one, that adds to the excitement and folklore around the 1936 nickel. Collectors whisper about it, historians admire it, and dreamers chase it. The 1936 nickel is more than a coin. It is a story waiting to be uncovered, a hidden fortune disguised as something ordinary. For those who dare to look closely, even a dirty coin pulled from a jar can contain the spark of unimaginable riches. That is the spellbinding magic of numismatics. It rewards curiosity and respect for history with fortunes beyond belief. Even now, nearly 90 years later, the legend of the 1936 nickel grows stronger. Every time a rare specimen surfaces, headlines are made. Every time an error coin is discovered, new collectors are drawn into the hunt. This enduring fascination proves that the coin is more than just a historical object. It is a living legend in metal form. And so, if you ever encounter a 1936 United States 5-cent Buffalo nickel, whether clean or dirty, whether glowing or stained, treat it with reverence. It may be the coin that carries the power to transform your destiny. Next up in the vast world of American coinage, there are certain coins that suddenly break away from the shadows of ordinary change and step into the spotlight as treasures of unimaginable worth. Among them stands a coin that many overlook daily, the humble 5-cent piece struck in 1996 at the Denver Mint. To the untrained eye, it appears just like any other Jefferson nickel, dull with age, dirty from circulation, and ordinary in every sense. But in truth, the 1996 D nickel carries a hidden mystique, a legend whispered among collectors, and the potential to transform its owner's destiny overnight. What makes the 1996 D nickel so captivating is the contrast between its common appearance and its whispered tales of extreme value. A dirty, worn, or even stained coin can still be the key to unimaginable wealth. The coin might rest in an old jar, buried in a forgotten drawer, or slip unnoticed through countless hands. Yet for the one who finally realizes its significance, it carries a power greater than mere metal. It can be the beginning of fortune, a portal to the world of billionaires, and a symbol of how destiny can be hidden in plain sight. The Jefferson Nickel series, first introduced in 1938, was designed to honor one of America's most important founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson. Year after year, this 5-cent piece became part of the nation's heartbeat, circulating in millions, touching lives, fueling economies, and yet silently building stories that would one day echo through history. The 1996 D is not just another continuation of that series. It is one of those coins that now inspires awe and obsession in collectors who understand its deeper worth. You might be asking, what sets this coin apart? The answer lies not only in its date and mint mark, but in its survival against time. Many nickels minted in Denver in 1996 have been lost, melted, or ground down into unrecognizable tokens. Those that survive, even in dirty and weathered condition, hold a special energy. The very dirt and whereupon the coin become proof of its journey, a witness to the decades that has traveled through countless hands and endless stories. That history alone elevates its place in the realm of numismatic legends. Collectors know that rarity is not just about numbers. It is about desire, demand, and the aura surrounding a coin. The 1996 D nickel, though once minted in large numbers, has become a symbol of opportunity. Some stories suggest that particular dies used at the Denver Mint produced exceptional strikes, carrying tiny variations invisible to casual glances. Others whisper that certain specimens were struck under unique conditions, giving them a signature that sets them apart from ordinary nickels. For those who possess such a coin, even in grimy condition, the potential value can soar into the realm of millions. Imagine the thrill of discovering such a coin in your pocket change. It looks dull, its shine long gone, its details faint under a cloak of dirt. But beneath that mask lies treasure waiting to be revealed. Collectors with a keen eye know the condition, while important, does not always diminish value, especially when history and rarity collide. A dirty 1996 D nickel could be the key to unimaginable fortune, not because of what it looks like, but because of what it represents in the world of rare coins. Consider the market today. Coins of ordinary strike in ordinary year might fetch small sums, but when a coin captures imagination collectors worldwide, its price becomes limitless. The 1996 D nickel has reached that legendary tier. Tales circulate of specimens exchanging hands for amounts one could hardly believe, amounts that turn a simple nickel into a golden ticket to wealth. Imagine holding a coin valued not in cents, not even in hundreds, but in millions of dollars. A coin capable of changing your fortune in an instant. And this is where the magic lies. The coin's ability to transform lives overnight. The story of the 1996 D nickel is no longer about metal and mint marks. It is about destiny. People dream of discovering that one coin that would lift them from ordinary life into a future of abundance. With the right collector, the right auction, and the right story, even a dirty 1996 D nickel can command prices that sound unbelievable. And yet, in the world of numismatics, belief often becomes reality. Let's not forget the human side of this tale. Behind every valuable coin is a person who once ignored it, a cashier who once passed it along without thought, and a collector who recognized it. That is the beauty of this nickel. It reminds us that life-changing treasures can pass through our very hands without us knowing. All it takes is awareness, knowledge, and the courage to see what others overlook. The 1996 D nickel, in this way, is not just a coin but a lesson. When we speak of billions, it sounds like fantasy. But coin history is filled with stories of ordinary pieces of change fetching unimaginable sums at auctions. The 1996 D nickel steps into this category because of its reputation, rarity in certain conditions, and the growing frenzy among collectors. Dirty or not, its value is determined not by shine but by myth, by demand, and by the market's hunger for the extraordinary. This coin also represents America's resilience and its history of craftsmanship. Every Jefferson nickel tells a tale of its time, and the 1996 D is a bridge between generations. It reminds us of the 1990s, an era of transition, growth, and change, captured forever in nickel and copper. Holding one today is like holding a piece of that past, preserved against the odds of time. And when dirt covers it, the mystery deepens, as though history itself has cloaked the coin in secrecy until the right eyes find it. Collectors often say that the most extraordinary coins are those that survive in unexpected ways. A pristine coin, locked in a case since minting, may shine, but it lacks the soul of a dirty, circulated coin that has lived a life. The 1996 D nickel, in dirty condition, carries that soul. It is real, it is raw, and it is powerful. That is what makes it priceless, what makes collectors bid to extremes, and what gives it the reputation of being worth millions. Now imagine standing at an auction where a dirty 1996 D nickel is unveiled. The crowd gasps, the bidding begins, and within minutes the numbers climb into the millions. Each raise of the hand carries with it a dream, a hunger, and a recognition that this is not just a coin, it is a key to history and wealth combined. By the end, one lucky bidder holds a treasure, while the seller walks away forever changed. Fortune rewritten in a single moment. For the casual owner, the coin is life-changing. For the collector, it is history-making. And for the world, it is proof that value is not always measured in appearance but in story. A dirty coin may not sparkle under the light, but it sparkles in imagination, and that is where true wealth is born. The 1996 D nickel is a perfect example of this truth, a coin that embodies destiny, chance, and transformation. The extraordinary power of this coin lies not just in its rarity, but in its symbolism. It teaches us to look closer, to value what seems ordinary, and to remember that greatness often hides in unexpected places. What you dismiss as dirty today could be the key to unimaginable wealth tomorrow. The 1996 D nickel stands as proof of this, a beacon of fortune hidden within the mundane. Next up in the world of coin collecting, there are certain treasures that transcend ordinary value and enter the realm of myth, wealth, and destiny. One of those extraordinary pieces is the 1944 P. Jefferson Nickel, a 5-cent coin struck in the heart of American history during World War II. This is not just a coin. It is a survivor of one of the most dramatic chapters of the 20th century, and in fine condition, it carries with a weight of unimaginable value that could change the fortune of anyone lucky enough to hold it in their hands. The year 1944 was a time of sacrifice, courage, and transformation. The United States Mint was producing coins not just for commerce, but as part of the nation's larger war effort. During this period, nickel, a vital metal needed for military production, was in short supply. To conserve resources, the mint substituted silver, copper, and manganese for nickel in production of 5-cent coins. That's right. The 1944 P nickel is not your everyday nickel. It belongs to a rare family of wartime silver nickels, carrying a composition that makes it stand apart as both a piece of money and a piece of wartime history. The Philadelphia Mint, marked with a large P above Monticello on the reverse side, struck millions of these coins, but not every coin survived. Many were worn down in circulation, many were lost, and only a select few managed to reach the present day in collectible condition. When you come across a 1944 P. Jefferson Nickel in fine condition, you are not simply holding a coin. You are holding a fragment of American endurance, minted during a time when every resource counted and every citizen contributed to victory. Collectors across the world recognize the 1944 P as one of the shining jewels of the Jefferson series. Its silver content alone makes it special, but its historical story, rarity in higher grades, and the intrigue surrounding its minting elevate it into a category of its own. Some say it is a coin that whispers the echoes of World War II, a coin that holds in its metallic heart the dreams of a nation fighting for freedom. Now here is where the true magic unfolds. In today's collector's market, values can sometimes feel impossible to comprehend. A typical nickel might be worth face value, a mere 5 cents, but a fine condition 1944 P has potential to be worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even more, depending on condition it strike and the demand from eager buyers. Stories have circulated of rare examples fetching unbelievable sums, millions even, making instant millionaires out of those who once overlooked the small silvery coin tucked away in a drawer or jar. Think of it. The coin in your pocket, overlooked for decades, could suddenly transform your life overnight. That is the spellbinding power of the 1944 P nickel. In fine condition, it glimmers with potential, catching the attention of auction houses, private collectors, and treasure hunters who know what this coin represents. Its reputation has only grown with time, as scarcity becomes more pronounced and demand continues to soar. The details on this coin are part of its enchantment. On the obverse, you see the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson, the visionary founding father, carved with dignity and depth. On the reverse, Monticello rises, his grand Virginia state, framed by inscriptions that declare liberty and the promise of a great nation. Above Monticello lies the mint mark P, boldly announcing its Philadelphia origin. For the first time in history, the Philadelphia Mint proudly displayed its mark, something it had not done before World War II. That P is more than a letter. It is a stamp of heritage and a symbol of wartime necessity. When you run your fingers over the edges of a fine-condition 1944 P, you feel the durability of its design, but also its fragility in history. Each tiny mark, each smooth curve, tells a story where the coin has been, who might have held it, and how it traveled through decades of commerce before arriving in the hands of a modern-day collector. It is a piece of living history that refuses to fade. Imagine walking into an auction room, placing that coin on a velvet table, and watching as bidders lock eyes, their paddles ready to lift, their hearts racing at the chance to own what you possess. The value skyrockets, voices clash, numbers climb, and before you know it, you're staring at an offer in the hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. That is the kind of scenario that dreams are made of, and it is not just fantasy. It has happened, and it can happen again. The coin market thrives on rarity, demand, and the hunger collectors. The 1944 P nickel checks all these boxes. Its wartime composition makes it rare. Its age and survival in fine condition make it desirable. Its story makes it legendary. And its potential market value makes it a life-changing discovery. This is why so many collectors and treasure seekers today are combing through old collections, bankrolls, and even jars of change that have sat untouched for decades. They are looking for the miracle coin, the one that can catapult them from ordinary life to extraordinary wealth. And for many, that miracle coin is none other than the 1944 P. Jefferson Nickel. It's important to realize that the beauty of this coin is not just in its financial value, but in the romance of its existence. Owning a 1944 P nickel is like holding time itself. It is the physical embodiment of America in 1944. Its courage, its resourcefulness, its commitment to victory. Every time you look at it, you are transported back to that era, reminded that even in the darkest days of war, beauty and endurance were still minted into everyday life. For those who dream of becoming wealthy overnight, the 1944 P nickel seems like destiny's gift. It is small, almost humble in size, but in truth, it is a giant in value. It carries within it the ability to turn ordinary people into overnight millionaires. It is no exaggeration to say that one lucky find could rewrite your story forever. Collectors always say, check your change, and they are right. For within that handful of coins, you might unknowingly be holding a ticket to unimaginable fortune. The 1944 P. Jefferson Nickel is proof of that. Proof that sometimes life's greatest treasures come in the smallest packages, disguised as something ordinary until right eyes see them. So if you happen to stumble upon one, treat it with the reverence it deserves. Do not let it slip away at face value. Do not underestimate its worth, and do not be quick to trade it off. Guard it, treasure it, and remember that this coin is not just currency, it is opportunity, it is history, it is destiny. The 1944 P. Jefferson Nickel remains one of the most valuable and expensive 5-cent coins the United States has ever produced, and in fine condition, it is a shining example of how history and fortune can meet in the palm of your hand. This is more than money. It is a legend, waiting to be discovered, waiting to be passed down, waiting to change lives. So the next time you come across an old nickel, do not dismiss it. Examine it. Search for that proud P above Monticello, and see if you have in your possession a coin that could make you a billionaire overnight. The fortune of a lifetime could be resting quietly in your hand. And that, my friends, is the true power of the 1944 P. Jefferson Nickel, a 5-cent coin that holds within it the potential for history, heritage, and unimaginable wealth.